Chad.
Arizona Cardinals. Let's talk about this team that's going to get.
By the way, Chad, it's a chirp. Cardinals chirp. They don't clap.
Don't you tell me how to bird. I feel like he's not where he once was when he first came in the league. I think he's fallen off. I think he's working his way out. My biggest question at quarterback is who am I going to see more this year, Clayton Tune or Colt McCoy? Because I don't think Kyler Murray, A, can stay healthy, and B, I don't think he can be too successful at this point. James Conner is an all right running back. We'll see what he can do. We talked about this beforehand. Marlon Mack got signed and then got hurt immediately. So I'm concerned about their run game. I do like a couple of their receivers. I really like.
Don't forget they got Tyson Williams.
Yeah,
and his one good game in Baltimore.
I was gonna say is Marquise Brown and Rondale Moore. Those two I really like. Zach Pascal had a good career in Indianapolis for a while there. We'll see if he's still got in his tanks. Greg Dortch played pretty well for them last year in the due to injuries and stuff like that. Zach Ertz, if he can be healthy. I know they drafted Trey McBride, but I think Zach Ertz is still the man as long as he can stay on the field. Offensive line, I really like the pickup of Paris Johnson. I think he's going to play well in the NFL. He's got that size and length that you want to see in an offensive lineman. Other than that, I think there's some questions of the offensive line that they need to answer. I think there's a lot of rebuilding going on in this organization. I would not be surprised to see them with the first overall pick next year and the second overall pick because they own 2 draft picks from 2 very bad teams. So defensively, I do like a couple players, Zaven Collins, B.J. Ojulari. I really like to see what he can do. Other than that, Budda Baker and Marco Wilson. I would suspect this team's probably going to get to a certain part of the season and start trading away some of their assets, trying to build draft capital or even get some prospect players from other teams. I just don't see them being too successful. And it's kind of sad because I like the Arizona Cardinals. Justin, what do you think?
I don't know what more assets they could really trade away at this point. Yeah, Kyler Murray, how's recovery look from the torn ACL? That's going to be a big part of it. Some people are saying there's optimism he could be ready for week 1. Some think that he wouldn't be ready until week 6 or 7. And at that point, after the tough schedule they had to open out, is there really a point in even bringing him in? Maybe bring him in for a few games later in the year just to, make sure he's not rusty. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of scenarios that lead to this being a very lost year for them. James Conner, like you said, he's all right as a running back. He's a good pass catcher at least, which is going to be helpful because I would expect the Cardinals to have to throw a lot because they'll be trailing in a lot of games. I mean, the receiver is actually one of the spots I like most in this team. Hollywood Brown, Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch. I think it's a pretty good trio. They'll be still looking to add more in the draft. If they do get the top pick and Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, they may end up taking him just because, how electric of an offense that would be. Yeah, they got good tackles on the offensive line. The interior is where there's a lot of question marks. So it just leads to more passing, I guess. Yeah, defensively, they lack talent. They really lack talent everywhere, pretty much. Budda Baker's a stud. Zaven Collins has been showing a lot of potential. Ojulari is interesting. You mentioned him. He hasn't performed well so far, but this could always be the year where things come together for him. New defensive scheme. Maybe he'll catch on to it better than others. Kaiser White actually followed Steichen over from the Eagles, so he'll kind of fill up the linebacker spot. But yeah, overall, this team's looking at like a top draft pick. I am curious to see how much Kyler Murray plays this year. Is it really worth throwing throwing him in week 1, like a 50% Kyler Murray in there for part of the year? I don't think it is with this team that they're looking at. Probably just wait till later in the year, have him play a little bit so he's not rusty, and then just get ready for next year. Matt?
Well, they have a new coach, new system. My question really after the injuries is how is Kyler Murray going to perform even on the field? Because he has the talent. We've seen the talent. But with a new system, is he going to be able to pick that up pretty quickly? James Conner, I do not trust him except for if Kyler Murray just needs someone to dump the ball off to. I don't trust him in the run game, and they don't really have much behind him. Offensively, they do have good tackles. They did add Will Hernandez, so that's a plus. But
Yeah.
even receiver
He
wise,
was
I
he
only
was
trust
there
Hollywood
last year, by
Brown.
the way.
Yeah, but I only trust Hollywood Brown. I don't Zach Pascal. There's a reason why he was third in Indy. Rondo Moore really hasn't lived up to the hype. I thought Christian Kirk was bad. Rondo Moore makes him look good. Um, when they were all on the same team, and then Greg Dortch is pretty good, but like, is he going to play the same as he did the past couple years or last year? Um, they're going to rely heavily on Zach Ertz if he's healthy, and then maybe this is the year Trey McBride takes a leap. Um, Defensively, they don't have much. LJ Collier didn't pan out in Seattle. Don't know why he's their starter. Zaven Collins is not really proven. He has not panned out as a first round pick. I thought he was going to be better. Kaiser White does help. BJ Ojolari does help. But in the secondary, Buda Baker and Isaiah Simmons, because he moved from um, linebacker to secondary, those are the only two good things about their secondary. I don't see really anything else. They're not really giving me a reason to even pick them for anything. They do have 2 first-round picks next year. So my question now is, can they unload Kyler's salary to someone?
I think
So
it's funny. You know, this division has got quarterback carousels all over the place. You got a three quarterback carousel in San Francisco. Who's actually going to start there? And then you got 3 quarterbacks here in Arizona. It's like who's going to have to start there? You know.
But wild
so you're
division.
thinking
That's why they're in the West.
you're
If they get
thinking they
Caleb
should move
Williams,
on from Kyler Murray?
if they're in position to
Yeah.
take Caleb Williams or Drake May, why wouldn't you?
Deadline time, they're so far behind that it's like, all right, we just need to start unloading. I'd unload every single person I name. I'd unload Zaven Collins. I'd unload
Take
Buda
half of the
Baker,
first round in
Wilson.
first round picks.
I'd trade them all. Isaiah Simmons. I'd trade them all away and trying to get as much as I can on my roster next year.
I think I mean honestly, I think they're going to build around Kyler Murray, try to get another shot with him. But I'm very curious to see if that happens.
Yeah, but if you have the number 1 overall pick and the 3rd overall pick, you're gonna look to take a quarterback there. I mean, yeah, you could trade both those picks and move down and get a bunch of picks for the future, but you're basically admitting at that point, hey, we like Kyler, but we're also going to rebuild.
Right.
At least if you take a quarterback, you're starting from complete scratch, so the canvas is yours.